Kia ora koutou, ko Angela Caves toku ingoa, nō mai, haere mai. Welcome to the Tai Tokerau Northland Business Growth and Support Virtual Conference. My name is Angela Caves and I'm the Partnership and Events Lead with Digital Boost. It is my pleasure to be hosting you over the next few days. Welcome to our audience who have joined us in the webinar, and a warm welcome to those joining on a live stream via Facebook, LinkedIn or YouTube. This is afternoon one of our 3-day conference, and so we are bringing to you presentations from all the support organisations for the business community. On the webinar with me this afternoon, I have got my co-hosts from our collaborating organisation. I've got Rich Volkman from connected.govt.nz. Rich is an employment liaison advisor who is based in the Northland region, and he is going to run us through some webinar housekeeping and then introduce our guest speaker. Thanks so much, Rich.
Kia ora, Angela, and welcome to all our viewers to this next session of the Digital Boost Connected Business Support. We do have Te Puni Kōkiri up next. Very briefly, I'll just be covering off a little bit of housekeeping. So for those of our viewers who are going to be in this webinar, we can't see or hear you. However, you can hear and see us. So if you do have any questions that you do want to ask, please put them in the chat function of this session, and we will get to those at the end of this presentation. It is my pleasure to introduce you to Anya Tahiri. She is on standby, ready to go there, Anya. So I will just hand straight over to you to kick things off.
Apai. O, tēnā tātou I te whānau, e mihi kaua kia ana kia tātou I tēnei ahi nōku te whiwhi kia kōrero atu kia tātou katoa. So just while I get prepared, I'm just going to share my screen, Rich.
Yep.
In hoping that the technical atua are on my side this afternoon.
Know.
In line with the kaupapa, I thought I'd use a bit of a different presentation software, and so my apologies beforehand if there's a little bit of a glitch, but I believe we're live.
Yep.
Awesome.
Take it away.
Me te matau I tēnei tūmumu āhuatanga. Tangiwa e te maunga, wairoa e te awa, te parawhau te hapu, ngā puhi te iwi, ngā tīwhatua e mihi atu nei. Pūritia, kia mau, te aroha, te mana, mauri e. No reira he hōnore, he kororia, he maunga rongo ki te whenua, he whakaro pai ki ngā tāngata katoa. Mihi kaua ki ana kia tātou, ko huitahi nei I tēnei ahi, ko ai tēnei mihi ana, ko Anya Tahiri tōku ingoa, I te taha o tōku māma, o ko kāwai hikinga ki te Tai Tokerau, ka ko tōku hapu, ko te parawhau, o ku hononga anō hoki ki ngā tihine, I te taha o tōku pāpa, he uri tēnei no roto Waikato Tainui, te wai ohua, ngā te tahu whaua, e mihi kaua ki ana. No reira, ka tika, ka tīmatai I tēnei tūmumu āhuatanga. Hea taku tūranga ki Te Puni Kōkiri, ko au tētahi o ngā kaitohu matua, e pāna ki te mahi me ngā pūkenga mahi. Kia ora tātou, I'm Anya Tahiri, and it's my real privilege to be here and to kōrero to you on behalf of Te Puni Kōkiri ki te Tai Tokerau. I'm a senior advisor for skills and employment, and also want to acknowledge our Māori enterprise team. So yeah, very much my privilege to be here today, to wānanga, to kōrero, and to share information to our whānau, to our businesses, particularly in Te Tai Tokerau. So I've got a few things that I'm going to cover in our short time this afternoon. And I think I'll just go straight into the nuts and bolts, but I guess my particular focus is on Māori enterprise and skills and employment. Nō reira, tuahanga tuatahi. I am going to put that there. Ka pai. So, koe mātou, so who are we? Te Puni Kōkiri was established in 1992, but our whakapapa actually traces back to 1840, and in particular the signing of Te Tiriti o Waitangi. We are responsible for formulating and, where necessary, amending the policy for legislation, dealing with inquiries regarding the application of legislation, and coordinating any obligations of the ministry under the legislation. But in a really nice and succinct way, Te Puni Kōkiri is government's principal policy advisor on Māori wellbeing and development. So, here ngā whāinga matua. So, what are the visions, values, and purposes of Te Puni Kōkiri? So, overarching, the long-term vision of Te Puni Kōkiri is that our whānau are thriving and not just surviving. So when whānau are thriving, so do their communities, hapu, iwi, in all of Aotearoa. And I guess we really hone in on this in terms of our purpose statement that says that drawing strength from our past to build an Aotearoa New Zealand where whānau can stand, thrive, and belong. And I guess it goes back to that whakatauki, kia hoki whakamua, kia kōkiri whakamuri, era tumu moahuatanga katoa. And when we look at the paupau in terms of the values or the uara that hold up Te Puni Kōkiri, we're talking about te wero, which means that we pursue excellence and that we strive for excellence and that we get results, that we're acting with courage when required, and we take calculated risk and are results focused. When we look at manaakitanga, that we absolutely value people in our relationships. And like all good things, they're very much anchored on the relationships that you hold and very true in terms of business growth and support. He toa takitini is looking at collectivism, unity, and building strength as one, and that we're all on the same waka together. And then the last one is based around ture tangata, that we are creative and innovative and that we test ideas and generate knowledge, that we learn from each other, ngā aupiki me ngā auheke, and that we're confident about what we're doing collectively. I guess this particular to Te Tai Tokerau, and I'm just going to zoom in on that, hoping that you can see that a little bit clearer. When we look at our whare, and what holds us up, we have at the top there the vision around thriving whānau, then our purpose and role, and of course our strategic priorities. So we've got 3 for Te Puni Kōkiri. One of them is focused on Māori economic resilience, the second one is around te ao Māori, and the third one is around equitable and effective public sector performance for Māori. Now, when we look at what our focus areas are for Te Tai Tokerau specifically, we've got them in our 3 streams or 3 work streams. So when we look at Māori economic resilience, we've got housing, we've got employment, and we've got enterprise. When we look at te ao Māori, we've got te whare o te Māori ora, or marae development, and we've got a strong focus on tai ao, whenua Māori, looking at how we build capability and capacity within the tai ao space. And then when we look at the last one, which is equitable, and effective public sector performance for Māori, we've got inside of the focus areas for Te Tai Tokerau is whānau-centred approaches and the Māori public policy leadership. And there's a range of kaupapa that fall under those 3 work streams. Now, if we go to the bottom, these are the investment funds that sit across all work streams. And I guess the 2 that I'm going to focus on today is around the Māori enterprise area and also cadetships, which is the kaupapa that I look after. Ka pai. So just a brief on what we do. Te Puni Kōkiri has been around for a really long time and we cover a broad range of kaupapa, and we've briefly touched on a few of them. As I've mentioned, my 2 focus points here are employment and enterprise, but we've also got housing, marae development, tai ao, whānau-centred approaches, and Māori public policy and leadership. Now, Māori enterprise and employment particularly talk to these three focus areas. And when we look at skills and workforce, we're looking at how we get more Māori employed in higher skilled and paid jobs. We're looking at the barriers to entry for Māori in the workforce and businesses and how we remove those. We're also looking at Māori being employed across a wide range of industries and are therefore less susceptible to job losses. We're also looking at long-term resilience in the education and training sector and meeting the future needs of industry. When we look at enterprise, it's all about that growing capability of Māori businesses. It's looking at diversification of Māori investment into more resilient sectors to limit exposure to economic shocks. It's continued growth of industries with high Māori employment and investment, and looking at more Māori business responding to government tenders, that procurement space or progressive procurement, and it's about growing whānau asset base. And just pertinent to Tai Tokerau, we've got some statistics there in terms of the Māori business growth and some key indicators for us. Cool. So at this point, I do want to acknowledge my other kaimahi who actually sit in this space in Māori enterprise. I'm simply the manu kōrero at this point. I'm here to share some information about Māori enterprise. And so the aim of the Māori enterprise funding is to help Māori enterprises build capacity and capability to ensure a thriving future. So how can we help as Te Puni Kōkiri? Māori businesses are paired with a regional senior advisor with regional knowledge and connects to local Māori business networks. Māori businesses are connected to other agencies providing funding opportunities. So I guess it's your senior advisor or the regional senior advisor for Māori enterprise is a hoa haere or a mate that can help you navigate the different streams of support that come through Te Puni Kōkiri, through other agencies, through other support networks. If you don't have existing relationships, they may be able to, whakapuare tērā kuaha mau, or they'll be able to just point you to the right people and connects and supports. In terms of this particular fund, it is a regionally contestable fund of 160,000 for this financial year. And applications are open all year round. How do you find more information about this? We've got a really awesome website with lots and lots of information on it. And it has the application criteria, case studies and all those things on our website as well. So that's the Māori Enterprise Fund. And I'm just going to move over to my mahi, which is in the skills and employment space. And covers cadetships. And I'm actually just going to let our whānau who have been successful with the cadet funding share their story about what they've been able to do with the cadetship fund. And then I'll break down some nuts and bolts of the fund.
Ngāti Toa's been partnering with Te Puni Kōkiri for many years in connection with programs that are for the development of our people. The TPK Cadetship program is a valuable addition to supporting the pathways that we are creating for our young people as they move forward in their developmental and educational aspirations.
I am a resource management advisor And that means I am one of the people who talks to different government agencies, councils, anybody who has an interest in an arohi, basically. I already knew the course that I wanted to do, the Kaitaki Pūtaiao course up at Te Whanango. I would like to end up managing our own reserves. I know that specifically this course is going to help me do that. For me, working for my iwi means that my children have a safer place to live. And I don't just mean like crime. It's not about crime, it's about healthy waters, it's about our taiao, it's about our beach, it's about our harbour. If we don't educate ourselves and go into that space, and if we don't help our children to want to be in that space, then it's like, what's the point in drinking, using no plastic bags? You have to actually be in those conversations, and it's hard. Because you cry, because they're talking about your family, they're talking about your people. Because it's not for me, it's for my kids, it's for my cousins, it's for my whole iwi.
So my cadetship, I am currently enrolled at Te Whanango doing a tohu pautahu whakakoranga, a postgrad.
For my cadetship, it's around mātauranga, but being able to design like behavioural strategies, but with a Māori lens on it.
Our iwi really wanted to revitalise the reo within our iwi and do that through our own puna reo based ECE centre, and be able to pass on our own kōrero, our own stories to our tamariki. The way that the cadetship is helping us is like allowing us to train our own kaimahi so that they can get their tohu in ECE or just attend these professional developments.
Making sure that all iwi are aware of the cadetship scheme and the value that it will give for their iwi.
When you're working for your own, there's that fire within your puku to want it to be the best that it can be. Kia tū ake ai a Ngāti toa, hei iwi toa, hei iwi rangatira ki tēnei ao.
So I'm doing the health cadetship. I'm working as a graduate health worker at Orotoa PHO. I've grown up in the park all my life, and I wanted to help and contribute to the health of our people however I could. So working at Orotoa for my cadetship and taking everything that I'd learned at uni seemed to be the perfect opportunity to do that. Working for my iwi in the health space gives me a lot of drive. Recently, we've actually been working with our kaumātua and our iwi, trying to get them vaccinated with their COVID-19. And I think being able to do that work and work for our people has made me, really strive to do better in my studies so that I can get the best education I can to come back and help us and be as knowledgeable as possible. I think it's a perfect opportunity to get work experience and to give back to the people that have helped raise you your whole life working for your iwi.
When my grandfather was born at the turn of the century, there was less than 100 adult members of our iwi still alive. In 2 or 3 generations, both in number, well-being, prosperity and mana, Ngāti toa will be an unrecognisable force in Aotearoa.
Ka pai, mihi ana ki te whānau o Ngāti toa. So I guess that's some of the ways that our cadetship fund can support and Tai Tokerau whānau across many sectors, across businesses, community providers, hapu iwi. The cadetship fund is open to all kaimahi Māori at any stage of their career. So the aim of the cadetship fund is to support kaitono or employers to fund training and development for kaimahi Māori at any stage of their career, to develop new skills and improve confidence in leadership, and to move into higher and better paid roles. In terms of a funding criteria, cadets must be in permanent employment for a minimum of 6 months. Cadets must be developed for a minimum of 6 months. And formal qualifications or micro-credentials are definitely encouraged. I guess it's about setting up our people not just for the moment, but giving them tools that they can take with them, well into their lives. Cadets may also only be funded once. So how much is the fund worth? So you do have up to $10,000 per cadet. It's a nationally contested fund of $12.8 million for this financial year. The fund will drop to $4.25 million per year from the next financial year, and applications are open all year round. The beauty about the cadetship fund is that there's lots, it's definitely personal. And when I say personal, it's according to the needs and aspirations of that cadet or that organization, that business. And so you can get really creative, I guess, with building a program that's designed to a person. And, you know, it's really big on mentoring and making sure that, you know, our whānau are progressing through whatever mahi or aspirations that they have. So, yeah, hei whakakapi I tērā, that's the cadetship fund. How do you contact us? How do you contact me? How do you get more information? So if you go on our website, www.tpk.govt.nz, it has a plethora of resource and information on there. If you're local or in Te Tai Tokerau, you can find me at 85 to 87 Cameron Street in Whangarei. And I've also got our email contacts here. So for myself as the advisor for skills and employment, or my huahaere, Karen Tasker, who looks after our Māori enterprise. Nō reira, ko te tira. That's the end of my very short presentation. I'm happy to take any pātai.
Oh, kia ora, Anya. Thank you for that. Yeah, that was really insightful and some really good content covered off there. So, ka pai, well done. You can take a big breath now, and we've just got a few questions that have come in. There's an interesting one here just from somebody who wanted a loan from TPK for a business, but were unsuccessful in the application. And so I guess without going into sort of specific details, can you sort of provide some information on why some applications might be declined versus successful? What is there a criteria, or what does that look like?
I guess I'm just reading this pātai, and mihia na kia koe he neira mō tō pātai. Me te tuku aroha anō hoki that's been your experience. I guess it all depends on the fund, and I'm only probably going to speak to what I know, which is the cadetship side. But look, there is a range. It would, I guess there'd be a whole bunch of factors in there.
So could they reapply potentially, or they
absolutely.
could come in for more of a kōrero around that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's our jobs as advisors or kaiawhina to tautoko that space. I guess that, just need a little bit more information on what that experience was.
Okay, no, that's good. That's just
I guess just some things that may have depends on the business itself or the way that it's registered, or one of the things that we do consider quite thing is around financial stability of businesses and things like that. So solvency and all that stuff, risk management. But without really knowing too much more detail, I couldn't answer that confidently. But I just want to mihi to that whanaunga. That's been her experience.
No, thank you.
And hara mai, come into the office.
There you go. Okay, perfect. I mean, a couple of other questions here is just around what other things are not funded then under that?
In terms of business?
Yeah. So what is not funded?
So I guess just in terms of a business startup, if I could use that as an example, we generally don't fund capital assets or key, I guess, assets required for business startup. Like I said, with the Māori enterprise space, our advisors have lots of connects and they have lots of relationships with other agencies or businesses that may be able to provide that kind of support. But that's generally a key one, is that we can't really provide business capital. If I can kind of just put that there.
Great. And so what one other question that's come through here is, what is the purpose of the TPK cadetships, and who can submit an application for this particular fund?
Ka pai. So the purpose of the cadetship is to build that capacity and capability within an existing. So it's a in-work, what would you call it? Cadetship. So they have to be employed for a minimum of 6 months, permanent, and you can kind of go any way that you are wanting to go in terms of developing up. So it is that developing up, and really it's about making sure that people have real tools that they can leave with or move on with. And that's why I mentioned around the formal quals and micro credentials are really strongly encouraged, because people can move on with those types of tools. It's definitely around that mentoring and leadership space. There's a real key focus on that, especially for rangatahi, but generally anybody who's looking to ladder up. It's the application itself is quite broad, and we often talk to whānau about having a think on what they want their cadetship to look like, because it's not, I guess, our role to dictate what it is and what it isn't. It depends on the sectors or the types of businesses that you might be running as well. We have lots in terms of taiao, those who are moving into primary industries, those who are doing road management, those who are looking at first line leadership or retail management. The key criteria really is that he kaimahi Māori, that you are a kaimahi Māori, and that you've had a real good think about what the cadetship looks like and means to you. But
Great.
that's why I'm here.
Done some homework on it.
Right.
Right.
And it's just to work through.
And you work alongside them sort of through that process as well, rather than just sort of a one-stop. Did you fill out the form correctly?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes or no? It's more of a journey together to go on it and result at the end.
Yeah, and I'm happy to have as many kōrero that we need to do this. So it's definitely a helping hand.
Kia ora. Okay, thank you. There's no other real questions there. Angela, I think thank you, Anya, for that, and we'll hand back to Angela.
Thanks, Rich. Thank you, Anya. I think the Northland region, super blessed to have you up there for anybody to come in and have a chat around their specific circumstances, Anya. So great to know that you're on the ground in the Northland region for anybody who just wants a little bit more information or wants to have that face-to-face conversation with you. Thanks again so much for joining us this afternoon, Anya. It's been great to hear all about TPK and how they are supporting our business community. If anybody wants to be connected with Anya and you're not quite ready right now, please head over to Connected. Rich is there to do that. He's there to be that conduit of connection for you into our business support agencies. Digital Boost is here to help you on your digital transformation journey, which is supporting all small businesses to have a digital footprint. Please sign up to Digital Boost and take advantage of all the free resources that are available there. There's the free tool, free diagnostic tool Checkable, which will help take stock of your current digital footprint and give you some recommendations and easy wins to get started or improve your digital journey. That does bring our session to a close. So once again, thank you for joining us to hear all about TPK. Up next, we've got New Zealand Trade and Enterprise. So if you are a business and you're looking to start your export journey, please jump in and have a listen to what they've got to say and how they can help you with starting out and exporting. We will have more organisations join us tomorrow afternoon. So we'll have the economic development agencies and the likes of the chambers, and then more government agencies will be joining us throughout the conference. So if you would like to attend any of those sessions, please head over to connected.govt.nz, head over to the In Your Region section for Northland, and you will find our event there where you can sign up for future sessions. Other than that, we are done with our session here with you, Anya. So thank you again so much for joining us. It's been wonderful to host you this afternoon. You did a fantastic job, and we look forward to seeing our audience in future sessions. Thanks very much, everybody.
Kate, bye. Mihi ana.